Hi, I'm Beth and welcome to Mindful Yoga with Yogi Beth C. This practice is going to be a restorative yoga practice to enhance your vagal tone. Now you might not know what that is, that's okay. In addition to being a yoga teacher, I'm a clinical psychologist, and polyvagal theory is something that has become really popular in psychology or therapy. It talks about our physiological system, our nervous system, and that's connected to how we react to being safe, when we feel comfortable, how we deal with stress. So the vagus nerve is the largest nerve in the body. When we tone the vagus nerve, when we stimulate it, we're more resilient, we're better able to react to stress, and we're also in a place where we feel calmer, safer, basically more adaptable to the things that we face in everyday life. So we're going to do a practice that's going to help you manage stress and hopefully feel generally calmer and more relaxed. This will be restorative yoga, and I have some couch pillows here as props. I wanted to make it as simple as possible, so grab some cushions off your couch. If you have a yoga bolster, you can use that too, but no need for specialized yoga props. We're going to start in a seated position. I'm going to take one of my pillows and sit on it. You might want that too. And to begin, you can sit however you're comfortable. I'm sitting cross-legged, that's an option. However you're comfortable is fine. So we're going to start by using the breath with a bit of sound, because we know that sounding practices do help stimulate the vagus nerve. And we're also going to try to expand across the chest. So really simple inhale and exhale with arm movement and with sound. So as we inhale, we're going to think about width across the chest as we open the arms out to a side. Elbows can be bent or straight. And then as you exhale, you can release the arms back front and let your breath out with a big sigh, like inhale through the nose, exhale, a few times like that. Eyes can be open or closed. Think about opening across the chest, drawing your shoulder blades behind you, really making the front body wide as you breathe in, and the big as you exhale. Let's do a few more times. And then the last few, let's try to slow down the exhale. So breathe in naturally. Two more times. Last one. And then sit for a moment. You can readjust your seat if needed. We are going to stay seated a little bit longer. We're going to stretch the neck. We know that the vagus also controls our face and the whole upper body area. So we're going to stretch the neck a little bit. And of course that can cause tension. When we have tension in the neck, can cause tension in the rest of our body. So start to tilt your left ear to your left shoulder, and I'm mirroring you. And then take your opposite hand. You can take both hands right in the area of your right collarbone. Place your hands on top and pull down gently. So you're really trying to not pull the shoulder, but pull the skin in the front as you let your head start to release the other direction. A little bit of gentle pressure with your hands. You might feel this somewhere along the side of your neck, parts that get really tight. Then take your gaze a little bit up, reposition your hands, and try that again. Gently pull down with your gaze a little bit up. Release the pressure of your hands, tilt your head a little down toward your shoulder, and once again, pull. And for the last few moments, you might move your head around. If there's any particular spot that needs a little bit more love, you can gently, really tiny movements into that spot, or you can stay where you feel the best stretch. You're welcome to use that in-breath, out with a sigh if that's useful to you. And then release your hands. You might even want to help your head back up to center. And then we'll do that on the other side. Actually, before we go to the other side, let's just move around a little bit. I can feel some of the muscles are kind of alive on the one side. And then your right ear, just softly let it start to dip toward your right shoulder. Take your opposite hands around the area of your collarbone and gently encourage a little bit more space, as if you could move the skin, the fascial muscles, or the fascia is the connective tissue under the skin, the muscles that are there. Release a little bit and tilt your chin up any amount. And once again, gentle pull. Release, last bit here, chin toward the opposite shoulder, gentle pull. I'm really doing kind of a press and pull action. Really trying to stretch the skin a bit, get a little more release the side of my neck. And then let that up with your hands and take your head any which way, exploring your movement. See how that feels. And if you find a spot where you'd like to stay, you can find a spot to hold. Maybe add a little bit of that gentle pull one more time. And again, you can breathe in and sigh it out if you'd like. And then release and come back to center. So that was a little stretching to help us prepare for lying still in our restorative poses. So we have the sort of the setup for the first pose. I'm going to put my other pillow back here. This is going to be under our back, so it can be a little bit more an angle like this. It certainly can be more flat. If you're flat like that, you might find you like a little pillow for under your head. So we're going to do a supported fish pose. So supported fish supports the back and lets the front body be open, the same width that we were doing in the initial breathing exercise. So turn around so that your backs are toward your pillow setup. And we'll start with the feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Now you can either have your spine right up to the pillow setup, or you can be a little away and have the pillow setup start a little below your ribs. So you'll have to experiment a bit to see what works for you. Start to lie back. And this feels pretty good for me, although I'm finding I want a little bit more under my head. And it can be nice to have your head supported so that your chin is tilted a little bit toward your chest. There are these receptors on the back of our head called baroreceptors. Those will also help stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is part of the system that the vagus nerve controls. And then I naturally straightened my legs out because that felt good here. You can keep them bent. You can have them crossed. So find a position where you can set your body up in stillness and stay in that still place. In restorative yoga, we're not trying to stretch the body at all. We are letting our body be supported by props if we're using them, or the floor. And then we're completely releasing any muscular reaction, softening into our supports. Now I'm keeping my glasses on just so I can read my notes and see the camera. If I was practicing and not teaching, my glasses would be off, and I recommend, if it works for you, to take your glasses off as well. Let your eyes be soft. You might even desire to place a washcloth or something soft over your eyes to release some of that external stimulation. And see if you can start to let your breath fall into a pattern of an even breath in, even breath out. Of course, you might find during your practice that your attention is distracted. Of course, you probably will find that. That's a natural thing. When we add a mindful component to our yoga practice, we notice if we've gotten off track. We note it to ourselves. Oh, I was thinking about something else. And then with as much gentleness and kindness as possible, we encourage our mind to come back. Perhaps reconnecting with physical sensations like the feel of the props, the mat under your body. Maybe reconnecting with the flow of your breath in and out of your body. There's not really any particular limit for how long you can stay in a restorative pose. As long as you're feeling comfortable and feeling some bit of rest and release, you can stay in the pose 5, 10, 15 minutes or longer. For the purposes of this practice, the poses are going to be around 5 minutes long. So let's gently count down with the breath. I'm going to breathe in and count down 5. Breathe that in again. Breathe out 4. Continue in your own head. Your breath pace doesn't have to match mine. If you're not yet at 2, count down the last 2 breaths for yourself. After you reach your last exhale, bend your knees if they weren't bent. Start to roll yourself to one side. Slowly help your body off of the props. And you can actually keep them in roughly the same position. You might find a desire to move them a little bit, but we'll see as we set things up. I think I'm going to stack 2 of my pillows and then ramp one ahead of it. Now, if you have 1 pillow, that's fine. There are 2 pillows. I recommend at least 2, but if you don't have as many, that's fine. If you have 4 or 5, you can stack them. Probably you'll need more the squishier they are. If they're firmer, you might not need as many, or if you have a yoga bolster. So let's sit with one hip toward the pillows, And then bend both knees however is comfortable. So they can be more stacked, they can be more 90-90. It doesn't really matter how you have your knees. You want to be comfortable. You want to be able to turn your torso toward your pillows. So wherever you have your feet, it doesn't matter if one is straighter than the other. And when you're ready, start to turn your torso so that you can put either hand on either side of your little pillow stack. And then you'll start walking your torso forward over your pillow stack. And here's when you might have to adjust it to be closer and further away. And then you'll turn your head toward one side, probably to the same side that your knees are. Turning your head to the opposite side is a much more intense stretch. If that feels right for your body, go for it. Otherwise, go for the more gentle sensation. Well, this is feeling a little too squishy to me in my head, so I'm going to take my mini pillow and use that to support under my head. Oh, that feels just right. Your arms can be soft. Again, if you have glasses like I do, you can see mine are getting a little moved around. I'd recommend putting them aside. Let your body start to soften into this position. You might feel stretch anywhere from the side of your hip to the side of your neck. So this pose is, yes, it's a little bit more yin than restorative. We are feeling a little bit of stretch. We really want that to be pretty minimal to make this a more restful practice. So try to set yourself up, the bend in your knees, the support under your head. You can even have your hands tucked under you, hugging the pillows if that feels good. So that this is mostly rest. And then once again, start returning to the even breath in, even breath out. Closing your eyes in restorative postures is optional. Sometimes eyes closed doesn't feel as safe or as restful. So your eyes can be open and soft, not really taking in any information through the senses of your eyesight, a soft gaze. Using our breath to count down helps to prepare our body for unwinding, coming out of the posture. It also helps to return our attention to the breath. So I'm going to count down. We'll count down from 3 this time. I'll count down the first one, and then you count down the last 2 breaths on your own until you go from 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 3. 2 more. And last one. After you reach the end of your last breath, place your arms back beside you. Use a little gentle pressure into your arms to help you sit back up. And the nice thing about this pose is we don't really have to change much with our stack and just start to turn our body away. and then spin toward the other side, so I won't be facing you for this side. Once again, you'll set up your knees and your legs however is supported of you, and it can be different from the first side. Snuggle your second hip close to your pillow stack, hands on either side of the stack, and begin walking forward. And as you do that, you might find you adjust your legs. You might want a little pillow under your head or a slightly different level of support than on the first side. Remember that trying to turn the head in the opposite direction of the knees is a much more intense stretch, so you probably want to keep the head same direction as the knees. Maybe it feels comfortable to have your chin on the stack. Once you find your pose, give yourself permission to rest in that place. Continue your soft breathing. Notice any wandering of the mind, and with kindness, with a little bit of curiosity or curious awareness, bring your attention back. Maybe naming what you feel. I feel the pillows under my body. I feel my breath in my body. And then once again, we'll do a countdown. I'll start at 3 and you'll do 3, 2, 1 before you start to move. Take a breath in. 3. After your 1, rise yourself slowly back up. We are going to do one more restorative pose, and then we'll end with another breath exercise. So once more, you'll need your pillows. You might only need 1, you might need 2. I'll show you some ways to adjust this. This time we're going to be lying face down. So this can feel a little bit different. The first pillow is going to go right in the area of the hip bones. And then depending on how long your torso is, you might find that you want 2 pillows. You want to have some space in your head because you want to be able to breathe. So you could have your hands stacked like this. You could have another pillow for your head. You might have a higher pillow at the top where your head is. That version would probably be best for me without glasses. Just because I have my glasses on, I'm going to take my hands a little more stacked so I have a little bit more room for my face.
Now you might feel a little gentle pressure against your belly here. That's actually part of the purpose of this pose, is to stimulate the digestive area. You might have heard that as opposed to our body's fight or flight system when we're revved up, our more restful system is sometimes called rest and digest. So the vagus nerve also acts to help control digestion. And it's one of the areas that when we stimulate it, that helps produce that bit of a relaxation response. Being prone in this way also gives a unique opportunity to turn our awareness, our attention inside. You might use that awareness to notice and name whatever is going on. And notice and name means simply noticing, making a mental note that you're naming without getting caught up in what is going on or stories. So my notice and name might be things like foot, pressure, hands on head, shoulders soft, gravity, breath warm, and then if I start to notice I become distracted, I might note what the distraction is, thinking, planning, problem solving. And without getting caught up in that, I bring myself back to breath, warmth, pressure. It's also fine to turn your head to one side. You find that that gives more access to the breath. It makes your head more comfortable. If you've had your head turned to one side already, perhaps turn it to the second side for the last minute or so of this pose. Once again, we're going to count down the breath. This time we'll count down from 5. I'll count the first 2. Remember, your pace might be off from mine, and that's totally natural, totally okay. And that's why I'll let you to continue the last 3 inhales and exhales on your own. So the first 2 is just to get you started in the countdown. Breathe in, out 5. Breathe in, out 4. Lastly, on your own. And when you reach 1, moving extra slowly this time, once again, use your hands to assist with pushing yourself up off your props. You might want to send your hips back into a small mini child's pose for a moment. And we'll finish the class seated. So if you'd like to sit on your pillows or your props, you can. You don't have to. You can sit the same way that you sat at the start of class. You could sit a different way if that's more comfortable. Find a comfortable seated position for our concluding breath practice. So at the start of this practice, we did a breathing in with an opening across the chest and then a sighing out. Now on the exhale, we're going to do what's called B breath. We're going to keep our mouth closed this time and breathe in and out through the nose, but make an actual humming sound on the exhale. So I'll demo first and then we'll do it together for a few rounds. So it's just like this. Breathe in through the nose and then on the exhale. Now what we've found for polyvagal theory is vocalizations like humming, chanting, sighing, all help stimulate the relaxation response. They can be used as a practice in and of themselves. This is a way we'll end the practice today. We'll do it with about 5 breaths. So we did that countdown of 5 breaths. I won't count them this time because I'll be humming my B breath, but you can count them yourself or you can time your breaths to mine. It's not necessary, but if that's useful to you, you can do it at my pace. You'll notice I'll take natural breaths in and try to extend the buzzing as long as possible on my exhale. Okay, ready? Take a natural breath in through the nose. Last round. Take a moment, eyes open or closed. Return to your breath. Notice any shifts in your sensation in your body. So I'm so glad you stopped by to practice with me today.
I would love to share more of my practice with you. All of my yoga is mindful yoga. That's what I do as a psychologist and a yoga teacher. So you can check out some of the mindful practices I have to offer. I do meditations as well. So if you want to practice mindful meditation, take a look at that down there. Your like really helps me know that you're appreciating my content. And then if you do have any questions, comment down below. I answer every single comment and I take requests. I'd love to create a practice that meets your needs, to let me know what that is. Thank you so much and have a good rest of your day.